Hi, today we're going to create Silkscreen Monoprints. I have my design set up underneath my screen with a little bit of Mylar for registration later on, and I'm going to create a key master by drawing the speedball screen drawing fluid through my screen. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that the screen drawing fluid is dry, here's what it looks like. And this is the image I was trying to recreate. I think I did a pretty good job. Now we're going to take some screen filler and a spoon and a piece of mat board for a squeegee. We're going to surround our drawing with that. So stir it up really good if it's been a while. And you're only going to put enough to cover your image. With the mat board, hold it like a squeegee, a nice angle, firm pull and pull. Now we're going to use additional mat board pieces to clean off the screen. And if you wipe this thing down and it still has a good sharp edge, you can reuse it over and over again. After we reclaim it, we're going to dry the screen filler around your drawing, and that's going to harden. Again, be careful about hot air. Don't burn a hole in your screen. And we're going to do that from both sides and make sure that screen filler is nice and dry. All right, touch it. Doesn't feel cold and clammy. It's dry. And now with a wet sponge, we're going to open up the drawing fluid, and you don't have to be very aggressive with this. It'll open up really well. And you do it from both sides. Now we're going to dry that out, and we're going to print one. And this key line is going to be our design for our monoprint. We're going to have that down and know exactly where we need to put the color. It looks beautiful. All right, we have our squeegee now. We're going to print that and just get it out of the way, and we're going to use that key line to set up all our different color with the monoprint. And that's going to be on our left side. So I'm just going to add a little bit of ink. And we'll flood stroke with the screen always elevated. All right, and we are going to print one. Now this is our design that we're going to add color from now on. We have one now, it's our key line. We're going to move it over. We're going to clean the screen, and then we'll be able to move that design over to our open window on the left, which is our monoprint window. So clean out your screen really well. Because of COVID, we're not doing photo emulsion. This is something that you can do from home, the screen filler and the drawing fluid. All right, that's our beautiful design, and we're going to use that to figure out where we want our color. So I've set up my registration, and I've cut all my monoprint papers to the same size. And now, with the Caran d'Ache water-soluble crayons, we're going to draw on the screen and paint in the screen, and this gives us the ability to add color. So you can draw on the screen, you can create a paint palette, you can activate it with a little bit of water. That's what I'm doing with a brush right now. You can splatter it like a watercolor. Any of the effects that you have when you're developing a painting, you can get it. You don't want to build the layers up super thick, because we need to, at the end of this, be able to transfer all that pigment onto our paper. It is such a fun way of working them. You can get a very drawn line. You can lift up the screen to see how thick you're building it up. So now we have our image ready to go, and I'm going to sponge out where my little paint palette is, because I don't want to move that into my screen. So I'm just going to take a clean sponge, and so we're going to now do the next step. We're going to remove our key line design. and put an actual sheet of print paper in so we can transfer all that beautiful color. So now we're going to use transparent extender base by Speedball. If you don't have this, you can put a little glycerin into the acrylic Speedball, but this is ready to go. And I'm going to put enough out there as if I'm frosting a cake. I'm going to put a very generous amount because at the end of this, I reclaim it. That's the reason my my transparent extender base looks really kind of nasty. I reuse it. And now do a very loose flood stroke, almost like you're frosting a cake. And I love my icing, so it's really thick. Any dry spots, just put a little bit on. And what this wet transparent base, just let it sit up for at least a minute. It matters how thick but when you're ready to go, and now we're gonna pull it through and that'll take all the pigment to your paper. If you didn't get it all, do another flood stroke and pull repeatedly until you get all that beautiful pigment into your paper. Now, because this is ink, don't forget about that. We are going to scrape it all back into our container, even off our squeegee. And when we remove our print, we're going to sponge it out to clean our screen. Don't forget about this. Don't let it dry into your screen, okay? It is ink, even though it's transparent extender base. It just doesn't have any pigment to it. And there's our beautiful image that we're going to detail later. But before we even look at it to enjoy it, we're going to sponge out really thoroughly both sides of the screen. Now on monoprints, I would normally dry out the screen and do this over and over again, developing 4 or 5 different color images. And I apologize for the skippiness of this, but it was shot in a different speed and I'm trying to do it. So now we are able on our monoprints to print the key line back on it. So I'm going to print it on Mylar first, slide my print underneath until everything looks great, and then I'm going to set up my registration. I'll be able to pull all my monoprints. And so we're going to set up with the Kento registration with our tape tabs, and now we're going to begin. And we got a beautiful monoprint out of this. It's so much fun. So here's our original design, and then with all that beautiful pigment, that's your monoprint. Thank you for watching.